Welcome back, Deep Review TV viewers. It's Chris Nichols here, and I am Jordaned by...
Jordan Drake. I'm a verb, apparently.
And this is part 4 of our How to YouTube series. And what we thought we'd do here is actually answer your questions. We had a lot of questions. You know, we hit up Twitter. We got lots of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would say we had dozens of questions on there.
Dozens upon hundreds of questions.
Like
and
100 questions.
They were all very good questions, but there were a lot of commonalities that people were wondering about, so we figured we'd jump on those. So we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to cross my arms like this because it makes me look sexy, and it shows off my farmer's tan, and honestly, it's kind of chilly.
I have a long sleeve shirt.
The most consistent question I got asked on Twitter was honestly about my beard or my hair, but second most consistent was ironically about consistency. How do we keep the channel consistent? Pretty cool dude asked, how do you find the time, and is consistency really that important? So when it comes to finding the time, there's no easy way to say it. Hey, I mean, when we did the Camera Store TV, we were working full time and we had to work on days off. We had to work late hours. Like, it was brutal.
Yeah, you're doing it on your own time. And I think that's going to be the case for most of you. You're not just going to suddenly jump out and be able to be a full-time YouTuber. You have to build an audience first.
Sure.
So you have to really enjoy doing it. I mean, if you don't love making videos and hosting and things like that, you will burn out very, very quickly.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed working together, so it didn't seem like that big a challenge at first, but of course it's better.
Why do you say did, like past tense? Anyway, so, you know, and then the other thing is, what about consistency? Like, you know, we now have a schedule. We're fortunate that we just work for Deep Review. I have a schedule of videos 2 times a week.
Yeah.
But I do feel like as part of sort of building a brand, you really do want to have that consistency. You can break your schedule once in a while.
But I do think it does really help if people are like, you know what? Every weekend, I have my cup of coffee and I watch this YouTuber that I like.
Absolutely. Ideally, you want to have an audience that is eager to see what you're making, and they're going to anticipate seeing that on a regular basis. It's comfortable, it's enjoyable, and yeah, I think it's very important.
We also had a lot of questions about how long it takes to shoot and finish up a YouTube video. So Ning Nuo, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, asked us, how much time does it take to produce a video from start to end? How many hours of work does it take to regularly update the channel and make videos? I'd like to see how it compares to a regular job.
So straight off the bat, I think it's important to understand that we make 2 videos a week, which is pretty ambitious. Most people are going to do 1 a week or 1 every 2 weeks. You'll have to find out what works for your schedule. But we do a long video and a short video. And how much does that take?
And generally for a full video, we're looking for a day to a couple days of production, typically with those. And then I find it's about 2 editing days. Right. Now, we're fortunate because while I'm editing, you can be going out, testing other equipment, getting photos for sample galleries, things like that. For the short episodes, I find they're usually half day to a full day and then about a day of post. We try to kind of set them up so it's not as much editing work for those. Yeah. Which basically gives you, generally it's like a 5 to 6 day work week, which is fairly comfortable for us. But again, this is our full-time job.
Yeah, and you know, you can be flexible with your time and schedule a little bit. Again, it'll depend on what you guys are doing for your channel. But keep in mind too that if you are doing the social media game, depending on how hardcore you want to get into that, that could be a lot of work. You know, advertising your videos, you know, getting questions online, you know, just doing your photos and stuff like that on Instagram.
It's a huge time sink, and people tend not to factor it in, and then you find yourself on social medias late at night, and you're sad.
Yeah. Now, I did get a question here from John Velasco, and this broke my heart, man. I mean, you know, John Velasco is asking on Twitter, how does one get health insurance if they're an independent content creator? Do you need to have an LLC, S Corp, or et cetera to get paid? And John, I'm assuming you live in the States. I don't know that for sure, but really the heartbreaking answer is you got to live in a place where there's empathy and people just care about their collective health. You know, like Canada, for example, where we just get that. But how about this question? Jan Arsenovich was saying, I have 10 YouTube videos. One of them went mildly viral. It got 10,000 views, where usually they cap at 200. How to churn out more videos like the one that performed without getting pigeonholed? This is the big question, Jordan.
Help us.
Yeah, help us. I don't have the answer. You know, the only consistent thing seems to be that if you think it's going to do amazing and you love it, it tanks. Yeah. And if you hate the video and you're like, no one's going to watch it, everybody loves it. So I don't know, man. Our peers are always asking the same question. It's a tough one. I will say that when I do YouTube videos for Bover Trout Fitters, a fly fishing place here in Calgary, we have similar views to what Jan was talking about. And it's like, you do a specific technique when it comes to educational, it might be too niche and people don't care. But if you do something generic like beginner's guide to gear, something like that is huge. And I think it's because people, you got to think about what people are looking for, what answers they're trying to get.
How they would search on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. And also about how many other people are doing that same kind of topic.
We did a video about shutter angle, not a lot of videos about shutter angle. So even though it was a very niche subject, we got a ton of views on that. So you kind of have to think, what are people going to be searching for that isn't totally buried with a bunch of YouTube videos. The algorithm won't help you out.
You have to read the market. There's no doubt about it. When COVID first started to really hit, and we did our video about how to live cam from home, kind of educational video, it was the right time, and it did do very well. So yeah, absolutely. New camera launches for us will always do better than stuff that's a year old. So yeah, you got to be on top of it. Think about what you put in your description and your title, because that is also going to be a big part of how the algorithm searches for your stuff.
Next question, our friend Dave of the Post Color blog on YouTube says, is a bathtub video necessary for growth? It was for us. Bathtub video in the first couple years would be a good idea. In all seriousness, though, he says, have you seen evidence that injecting more personality or humor into the videos helps with viewership or sub growth? I mean, Dave, for us, we can really only speak for ourselves, but like 10 years ago doing the Camera Store TV, we found as soon as we started putting more humor into it, that's when the channel really started to grow.
I really think, doing things like the same intro every time, you in the fetal position, which I find hilarious, funny measurements, it's a personality, something that people recognize and get comfortable with. So you don't have to be funny. You could have a weird voice, or you could just really know what you're talking about, or wear interesting clothes, but you got to have that consistent branding.
Yeah, I think it's important that your audience feels like they know you, whatever your personality might be.
Absolutely. But I don't think it's coincidence that a lot of the other YouTubers out there that we know personally, they started out as teachers, always in front of an audience of people, or they started out as comedians, or
magicians for some reason. A lot of magicians.
Absolutely, but it really makes sense. But in the end, I think this is the most important thing. YouTube is free, your viewers are coming to watch your videos, and they want to get something from it, whether it's education, whether it's humor, or a mixture of both. It's got to be consistent. It's got to be your brand.
Yep.
Oh, now here's an annoying question. It's from Gary, the everyday dad. Too many days out of the week, if you ask me. He wants to know, what is the best frame rate to record in, and why is it 30 frames per second? It's not, Gary. Frame rate questions are the worst. It's 24p if you're highbrow artists such as ourselves. That's the best. If you're a scientist, you want to match the human brain's potential at 60 frames per second. We all know it. But really, the true answer is 25 frames per second, pal, because the BBC make the best stuff. So let's get to a real question here, okay? So Hamad Al-Hindi wants to know how to record audio separately and later sync that up. How to leave a cue to find the accepted take, what codecs, bit rates, formats to use for audio and video, and what hair product to use. Okay, we're going to do Hamad's questions as a speed round Jordan quiz. So how to record audio separately and later sync up, go.
Final Cut does it automatically. That's what I do. But otherwise, it's really easy to just line up the two waveforms on top of each other, and they'll sync right up.
I'm going to change this a little bit. How do we leave a cue to find the accepted take?
Whenever I have a really good take I know I'm going to use for the edit, I will reframe slightly in the next frame. So when I'm looking at the thumbnails, as soon as I see a change in the framing, I know the previous clip was a good one.
What codecs, bit rates, formats to use for audio and video?
Oh, that's a lot of things. The one thing I would recommend knowing is smaller formats generally take up less space on the card, harder on the editing machine. Bigger file formats, all I will be easier on the editing machine, but take up a lot more space on the card. Next.
What hair product to use?
I don't know.
It's L'Oreal 24-Hour Remix.
I use Mousse.
No, L'Oreal 24-Hour Remix.
All right, last question here. Pat Stantinople is asking, what, if any, difference is there between making videos for yourself versus making them for your audience? And how does that relate to the success of a channel? I mean, for starters, ideally there will be some overlap between what you want to do and what your audience wants to watch. Otherwise, it's going to be a real slog. But I do think every once in a while you have to make one of those videos for you, whether or not you think it's going to get a lot of views, just something to kind of refresh your creative battery.
I think the videos are always for the audience. You're building these as things for them to enjoy, for them to get something out of, but they have to be unapologetically your own. Right? It has to be your personality. It's just like what they always told us back in high school. You have to be yourself. You can't pretend to be something you're not.
Are you really that cold?
No, just flexing for the audience at home, Jordan, obviously. So
I kind of miss hot lights just to keep you warm once in a while.
I know, I don't complain, but it's 14 degrees Celsius. It's like minus 136 Kelvin. It's barely survivable. Thanks for asking.
For more fun temperature jokes, make sure that you subscribe to the channel.
Go to Instagram, Twitter, and deepreview.com. Check out the forums.
Yeah, and you know what? For one day after we post this video, I'm going to try to get to as many questions that are posted under this video as possible.
Yeah, so
feel free to hit us up there.
We appreciate that. And for a little bit more insight into how we do our own YouTube, we have a BTS episode coming up where you're going to see exactly how we shoot, what happens in the background, and how much we really like each other. So subscribe so you can watch that.
I like you.
I like
what
you
are you
too.
implying?
Nothing.